Okay. Hi, it's me, Jen, again. And I have a channel that's dedicated to journaling, kind of sorting yourself out through that process, which I've done for over 30 years. And I've learned a lot of things over that time. And so this channel is all about sharing some of those things with you because other people did that for me. And I'd feel like a big jerk if I did not. So, funny thing is, I'm very new to recording this. As you know, I am usually writing this stuff down. And so I thought I would do a get ready with me, not because I'm a beauty guru, although, fun fact, I was a hairstylist in the early 90s during the era of Cindy Crawford and all of the supermodels. I was a hairstylist during that time. And honestly, it was a lot of fun. I loved working in a salon. I ended up getting injured really badly, and the chemicals were just too much for me. And I just never went back. Once I left, I didn't go back. I've toyed with the idea, but nonetheless, that's not where I am today. What we're talking about today, again, is monsters. This time, as promised, I told you I'd find a big, hairy, scary one. I'm doing this get ready with me because I'm actually getting ready. I have to go to work. But this was too important. And I was out on my walk and I'm like, dude, I have to share this. Did my morning pages from the artist way. And I'm like, I have to share this. So, by the way, I've already put moisturizer on my face and used one of these things, this Gashua thing. And I just do it like this. And it really digs it in. And I've read things about this not really working, but I like it to drain lymph and it feels good. So I really don't care. I also have an ice roller. I did not use that this morning yet, but that just feels good because when you are in menopause, perimenopause, or just in Florida, you're hot. So that feels good to cool down. I digress. Big, hairy, scary monster. So, again, there's the outside monsters that we see on the outside, and then there's the inside monsters that get created because of crap that those big hairy guys did. I'm looking for my base makeup. Okay. And I am addressing one that is very big, and the reason I know it's very big is because it still will bring up some emotion. So, if you feel yourself getting a little heated as you write out your monsters, characteristics, traits, and whatever, or if you feel yourself tearing up a little, it's okay. That's okay because that needs to move through your body. If you ever want a book about how these kinds of emotions connect in with your body and really wreak havoc, there are several, bazillion of them. One that I've read is strange, but it's called The Emotion Code. I may use this as a mirror. I don't know. I have a mirror in front of me. So, um, anyway, the emotion code talks about how these will, your body remembers them and stores it in your cells. And I think we all know that by now. I think this is not new news. So, but anyway, if you're looking for that source, the emotion code, I've mentioned Caroline Leaf's book, Who Switched Off My Brain, before. There's another one called How to Get Along with Messed Up People or something, and We're All Messed Up People. Yeah, that's an interesting book too. That's like if you're in the throes of a mess and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I even going to deal? That's that book. So, relationally, I mean. Um, because it kind of just helps you. Again, I like when you can get something out of your head and onto paper or elsewhere, in your body, moving it through. That's why I'm saying if you're doing these monsters and you're crying or feeling all that, go ahead and feel it because it needs to get out. As long as it's staying in there, it's running the show. It's being its monster self and it's taking over you like my puppet master. That's literally what it is doing. I know this just is messy and crazy, and I don't know. I actually did some makeup for like extras in just as an assistant when I was in that beauty world for the movie Rudy. Yeah, we got to do like really cool hair and makeup for the symphony in our town. for their Pops night, which was really cool, or orchestra or whatever. Got to do makeup and hair for them. That was really, really fun. So I did get to do some stage makeup. It did not. Every time I feel like I forget one step in this mayhem, but anyway, whatever. I'm in a hurry. Okay, people. Anyways, Big Hairy Monster. This is a he monster. And when I was a kid, I was a really good student and a really good girl. And I got good grades and did things I was supposed to do. And I thought this boy really liked me. He acted like he did. And he talked to me like he did. And he was a cool kid. And I was like, oh, you're such a cool kid and you really like me. My dad tried to warn me. And I remember my little self, this is at 16, going, okay, Dad, you don't know. You're not there when I'm having this conversation. You have no idea what you're talking about. You are a fool. And I'm not going to listen to you. Because he likes me, and that's all there is to it. And he said some things as a parent does. You're desperate. Can I just tell you, if you don't have kids and you're looking back at your parents, I've been this person, and you're like, they did this and they did that and they did it all wrong. Parents are winging it. We're out here winging it. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing. I've read a lot of parenting books. I've gone to the parenting seminars. I've been part of parenting groups. You're doing the best you can, and you're doing it on the fly. Talk about a job with no training. Jeez. It's wild out there, folks. But it's also the most joyful thing I've ever done. It fills up my heart. It's just wonderful. So I wouldn't trade my parenting years. And I'm not going to fault my parents at all for anything they did, because I know that their intentions were, hey, I want to get this kid through life alive and help her to succeed in whatever way. And they did a doggone good job, especially without all of the resources that we all have today, you know? But anyway, I digress. This isn't about that. This is about this dumb dude. And I've called him King of the Stool, as in toilet, because he was full of you know what. And he really was. And my dad knew it. He was wise to tell me this, to warn me. But I just thought I knew better. So I messed around with this dude for a little while. And I was like feeling all flattered. Like I had finally arrived maybe in the cool club myself. And fast forward, I'm losing my virginity to this idiot. And you might be, oh, Jen, don't share this on Facebook or on YouTube. I've shared this in front of a lot of people in person. I've shared this in recording studios in front of all kinds of live audiences. So, yeah, it's already been shared. And so it's out there already for consumption. And who cares? Because it's not really about that. The reason I'm sharing this monster is I realized at that time that my dad was right. That was what I told myself. He was right. He didn't like me. But I translated it in my little mind as I was doing something wrong. That's why he didn't like me. Or I wasn't good enough. That's why he didn't like me. I wasn't hearing, no, this dude's a jerk. I was hearing, there's no way he's going to like you. That's what I heard. That's not what was said. I know that. But that's what that little brain was hearing at the time. And I really think things end up serving you. They never really feel like it. It's always like, yeah, this helped. And it did lead me down a very dark path for a very long time. And embarrassing things ensued over the next couple of weeks. Really embarrassing. Humiliating. And I remember thinking, I never want to feel that again. And this is what happens. This is what I'm saying. a little monster in me got created. There was the King Cool of the Stool monster, for sure. But the one that got created in me is the one that I'm talking about today, because it was a doozy. It was a doozy. And I never wanted to feel that way again. Have you ever had a monster like that created on the inside of you? I will never experience this again. And so then you do something. You go on a quest and you're like, that's it. I think of like Revenge Body, Khloe Kardashian back in the early 2000s. She had that show. And, like you see it in celebrities all the time where they just snap back and we crush out and snap back. And that's what we do. And that can be good when it's channeled into something that's meaningful to you and others. And it even can be good in the things that aren't meaningful to anybody but yourself and that just strengthen you in some kind of way. And this did, but not for a very long time. It was a mess for a while. And so, anyway, I thought, how you get if you can't beat them, join them. And I'll tell you the truth, I was in the world of like, for a while, my job entailed me learning about victims of trafficking. And one coping mechanism is to tell themselves that they chose it, because that feels better than saying this happened to me, because you feel a little more powerful. So it seems natural that you would make this kind of conclusion to help yourself, right? Now, the problem is, oh my word, we're going with it. We're going with it. So the problem is when we do this, quite often, we're doing it without anybody walking through it with us. We're doing it just on our own, out there winging it in real time. And yes, you want to remain safe, and yes, you want to feel more powerful, but you aren't choosing ways that truly do that. And the way that you could, and it's like, oh yeah, Jen, I know this. The way that you could do it is you channel it into something creative. And that's why the artist way, taking you on these artist dates and listening to yourself and honoring yourself rather than just listening to these monsters all the time and letting them take charge of your whole dang life, will save you time and trouble. You can trust me on that. So in this, man, oh man, this is wild. In this story, long story short, is I became that person. I thought, this isn't going to happen to me. I'm going to do this to other people, and I'm going to feel powerful. There's no way. And I literally shut off my emotions. I just shut them off because I didn't want to feel that pain. I didn't want to feel the embarrassment, the shame, the hurt, the anger. I didn't want to feel the sadness. I didn't want to feel anything at all. And so I just blanked out. It's like I went into stupid zombie mode. And that's kind of the person that got created. And so when the other day I talked about the puppet master, I used to think that I would have to gather my strength from other people. And what this going into zombie mode helped me in that time to feel that kind of power. And it's like, did I really have power? No, I was acting like I did, or not even acting. I was way in pretend mode, but it helped me in that hour to find out that I could have power. It was not healthy. And fast forward, what I really wanted was to be seen and heard and valued for myself. And this is what this is all about, because you need to first value yourself. I talked about Realize yesterday. And here's the thing, with these little peepers, we can't look at ourselves unless we're looking at the phone, looking in the mirror. And maybe that's why a selfie is kind of a good thing. I don't know. Normally, though, you're looking at other people all the time. So you're kind of naturally, biologically wired to look at other people looking at you. And they're essentially seeing you, right? They see you. They see what you're showing them. And what you're showing them is what you think. That's why what I'm talking about, I almost said this shit, is so important. And people go their whole lives without doing this because you feel like you're going to implode. When I sat down and cried with this monster, which I've already done in the past, it feels a little like reliving the shame. It feels a little like, why am I doing this? Why would I put myself through that hurt again? I'm already over it. Except for you're not. Because what happens is you brush up against another time when you feel like you lost a little power, or when you feel like you want someone to be seen and to be valued, and you're not feeling that. Then along comes a puppet master who knows what to say and tells you, if only you did this, if only you did that, then you would be fine. Then you would be okay. Then I would like you. Oh, and I know what you did was really amazing. Thank you for that. But please add this to it. And I really hate when you do that as well. And so they're looking at you through their Realize, and they're telling you all the things that you need to realize on their behalf. This is why you have to go look at the inner monsters that were created and go, okay, Jen, you're being a puppet. You're choosing puppetry, time to cut the strings. Or, okay, Jen, if you really want validation, maybe it's time to look yourself in the mirror and give it to yourself and say, you know what, girl? And congratulate yourself and say thank you for taking the time to learn this and to be a better example and to find your real power and not dilute it in the hands of some numbnut. So, and there's different iterations of this and versions of it that keep going. And what I'm telling you is, you know those movies that they keep making new ones, and it's like whatever movie 13, and you're like, would you stop? I don't want this stupid movie to ever be played again. All of the actors in this film need to get a new life, do something else, broaden their horizons, and create something better. Like, can we not watch this movie again? Especially, and I'm not talking about like the saga ones that are like a continuation of an old story. No, I'm talking about, we rebooted this thing because we needed money. No, and I'm not going to live that way. I'm not rebooting the same story over and over and over. But if I don't even know that it's playing in the background, I am doomed to do this. And I remember when I was a young parent, this is when Joyce Meyer was on TV, and we all were watching Joyce. And we weren't watching the internet and YouTube, and we didn't have as many options for media consumption. So it's like if you had DirecTV, you had a gazillion channels and you were awesome and all that. But if you didn't, you were watching whatever was on Antenna TV, which might be like 5 shows. And so I would watch Joyce Meyer. And she was the only person in the realm of Christianity that seemed to have lived a similar life to mine. And this is literally why I'm sharing. Not because I'm going to be preaching to you, but because I know how important it is when you've lived a life and you've done the things and you see somebody do that and you're like, that's me. Oh my gosh. And there's a little bit of hope. She somehow figured it out and she's still struggling. So she's not acting like she's perfect and has it all together and is like, oh, well, you just need to buy my skincare and your life will be solved. No, I'm not that one. If I had a skincare line, that might be cool, only because I'd like my skin to be better. But anyway, I digress. No, it's just nice to know that there are people who have lived through this stuff and made it and came out alive and maybe even better. And so that is a good feeling, right? And you don't have to lose it. You don't have to lose yourself. You don't have to crumble in a corner. You don't have to disappear. You can make it through this stuff. And that's really what this channel is about. But not just cheering you on mentally. I want to give you handles because I remember she used to say, she was talking about the Israelites going around the same old mountain over and over and over. And she was using that as a metaphor of like, you're going to do the same thing again until you deal with this. Until you actually handle it, you're just going to keep doing the same thing. And that's all religious texts are talking through story and telling the stories of people because they want the people to come after them to not go around that mountain again and again. They're like, hey, let me tell you this story. And that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm like, hey, let me tell you this story of King Cool of the Stool. Okay. We know this, but it's different. Like we understand, everybody understands, right? You have to love yourself. You have to look inside yourself. You don't want to go around the same mountain over and over, but you need tools on how to do it. And that's what this series is about. And if it's a tool like the Artist Way, and that's what you want to do, use the Artist Way to help you through this and find your creativity again and find your inner artist and nurture that part of you, then by all means do it. If it means I need to get my body healthy because I care about myself, I want to look and feel my best because this container of my soul, my inner being, is important. Not just the way that it carries me and works and functions, but also because I am representing out into the world this person on the inside. And I value that person, but you have to start by valuing that person. And so it's not just by saying it in the mirror. It's not just by reading affirmations. That is part of it. I've talked about this in the Inside Out match game. But it's also taking the actions. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they're just like telling you, I love you, but acting like a jerk, you're like, I don't care. I literally, when you say that, I don't even believe you. And it's really a reflection of you. It's not them. Again, your eyeballs are looking at them. So you think it's them. They're looking at you. And what it's reflecting back to you when they're looking at you by how you're showing up is that you don't value yourself because you don't treat yourself that way. You don't treat yourself like what you want to do is important, what you want to wear is important, what your preferences are important. You don't treat yourself that way. because you're constantly telling yourself, no, you can't have that, you can't do that, you're not good enough, you're not whatever enough. And then you quit on yourself, and you don't take the time to learn it because you think it's a waste of time. You tell yourself that your dreams are never going to come true, and so why bother, and no one likes you anyway. And you say all this stuff in your head because these monsters. Because you never sat down and stared these mofos down and said, not today. We're done here. I just was listening to Creative Pep Talk on my walk, and Andy was talking about when like Luke and Han go in and they're Star Wars and they go into talking about a lot of movies, but this is more of a saga. But even that, sometimes you're like, okay, we get it. But the thing about that is you can go in as the enemy, like I did with my big monster. I went in and became the enemy. I dressed like the enemy. I acted like the enemy. I became the enemy. I became that monster, and I learned something in their world. Now, the point of a recon mission is to learn what it feels like to be in that world, and if it's scary and you don't feel comfortable, and you kind of always feel that way. You know, when people talk about imposter syndrome, when you're going into a new world, a new monster land, there's going to be monsters there. There's going to be scariness there. There's going to be things that make you feel like you can't do it. And people who tell you you can't do it. But when you sit down and you face these monsters, and then you pat yourself on the back and you say thank you to yourself for every iteration of that story, for every version of that movie, and you say, you know what? Okay, Jen, am I particularly proud of the way that I showed up in that era? I definitely could do better, and I definitely know how to do better. For sure. I definitely know how to do better than that. And I will do better than that. And I have done way better than that. But facing them down takes their power away. And then you realize how strong you are because you lived through that. You did it. You came out on the other side of it. You didn't stay there, but when you keep it in your head, it's in your body. It's in this vessel that you lived in. I lived in this same body when I was 16 years old. I was in here with me. And when you keep it in here, it's still riding along with you in its original form until you're able to go, all right, you are going out on this piece of paper. I am going to draw you out in your ugliness, and I'm going to realize in a real way, not the realizing I did then, but I'm going to look at this through a different lens and say, hey, and I was sharing this with my mom yesterday. As a kid, you do something like jump in the pool, and in your mind, you're like, this is the highest, best jump anybody's ever done. And you're like, look, Mom, look, Dad, look, whoever's around, watch me, watch me, watch me. And you're doing that. But over time, when you let the little monsters, that's where those little monsters are very tricky, because it's not always the big giant ones. Sometimes it is the little tiny barb that someone said that's still riding in this body. And when you take the time to go, okay, monster hunt commence, they're getting out of here, and I'm coupling it with action. I'm not just going to sit here and write in my journal. I'm not going to just plan and ruminate. I'm actually going to take action. I'm going to get up and do whatever it is I'm feeling led to do, and I'm going to trust my instincts, and I might mess up, and that's okay because I've messed up before and I've come out better for it. That is what a monster hunt is all about. You want to get back to that space where you're not afraid and you say, look what I'm doing. Look, oh my gosh, look at this, look at that. And if you have to pretend like you're jumping into the pool as an Olympian and you're doing the best dive ever in the whole wide world, then pretend it. Pretend it, because you're pretending anyways, because you're not living as a 16-year-old. You're not 16. You are however old you are, unless you are 16, but you're not that. And as long as you're giving it that much weight, gravitas in your life, it's controlling you. It is being the puppet master of your life. And you don't need that. So cut the strings off that sucker. Put it outside your head. Call it what it is. Give it a name so that you recognize it when it comes up the next time someone tries to poke it, and you will go, oh, yeah, no, I've already fought you. I know that I'm stronger than that. So good luck, sucker. You're over there as a coloring book picture that I made the other day. I recognize you, and we're not doing this. I literally had this happen to me this week where I was able to, because I looked at this, to make a decision that honored me and honored the other person and handled a situation. And it took 2 minutes. I made it a big deal. I let myself get butthurt about it and I had a fit. I did all of that in my own way that wasn't catastrophic like it had been in the past. I've definitely not been that person. So congratulations to me, because I grew from it and I did way better, and I'm proud of myself for that. I hope this helped you. I hope you will go on your own monster hunt. I hope you will tell those suckers who they really are and tell them who you really are, and find out how powerful you really are. Comment down below what you find. Comment down below any funny names that you came up with for our monster. I would love to hear them, because let's just be together, telling them that they're not going to run the show and they're just not even scary. Like, you can handle it. You're really strong. Have a good day.